Do you wish somebody wrote down the recipe for your parenting challenges? Did you want tips and tricks to become a better mama for you and your babies? I know I do. If you're a mother who feels that you are doing the best you can with the hands you've been dealt, but you're still getting it done, then this podcast is for you. I'm so glad you tuned in to Nailed It Motherhood, because we might have the recipe that nobody wrote down. What's up, everybody? You're listening to Nailed It Motherhood Podcast, and I'm your host with the most, Tamara Eldridge. Yay! Okay, I'm clapping for myself, but if I don't clap for myself, who else is going to do it? You know what I mean? So I am really hype about today's show. But before we get on the topic of what we're going to talk about and introduce our beautiful guest, I would like to remind everyone that I do have a website that is live. It is www.naileditmotherhood.com. So please take some time, go to the website, check it out, subscribe to the page, and then you will get all of your updates and you will get the latest podcast episodes sent right to your email every time that I send out a new episode bi-weekly. All right. Today, we are here with one of the kindest, most hilarious motivators that I have seen on social media. I'm very eager to get to her personal journey. But before we hear from our mama, let me officially introduce you to the beautiful and lively Ciarra Covin. Ciarra is a maternal and family wellness human services practitioner dedicated to advocating for the autonomy of women living with HIV and their families as they navigate the lives they envision for themselves. Now, I am super ready to learn from her experiences and hear all the schooling that she has for y'all, okay? Hey, CiCiiiii.
Hey, y'all. Oh, I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to jump in.
I cannot wait until you jump in. And thank you so much for taking on this beautiful platform so that you can share your voice with the world. I know you're already doing it because I see you're out there working and you're working hard, but I'm honored that you decided that Nailed It Motherhood Podcast was a platform for you. So thank you for coming. I hope you're feeling fantastic today, and I cannot wait to see what we have. Now, I reached out originally to Ciarra, CiCiiiii, and I will start calling her CiCiiiii because that is her preference. I reached out to CiCiiiii because I hate to see so many ignorant people cyberbullying her online, because that's what it's called. Because, it's 2023. Like, when are we going to grow up, right? And you'll find out why. But I tell you what, this woman right here, she has the exact personality needed to tear the ignorance down. I am so ready, CiCiiiii, for you to bring your voice to another Motherhood Podcast, because you are out here empowering people to be honest with themselves and heal by sharing their personal stories. So for that, I want to give you your flowers. Yay! We appreciate you, and I love what you're doing. You are so welcome. Before we get into your herstory segment, I would love to just chat it up with you about having a little girl, because my child happens to be my mini-me. And bless my soul, because she's a mini-me times like 10. So I've grown up being called dramatic. I've grown up being called extra. I've been called doing too much. I am hype. I am this. I am that. So imagine me being called all of those things by the time I'm like 10, 11, 25, 36. And now I have a little one at the age of 4 who is multiplying all of my energy. So she has met me. Okay? She has met me beyond what I have given out to the world. So I always wanted a little boy. That's what I told everybody. I wasn't even trying to have kids, but I was like, I'm going to have a boy. I'm going to have a boy. Yep, I'm pregnant. It's going to be a boy. And then whenever we found out I was having a little girl, I was like, well, I guess I can dress her cute. We shall see. But I have met my match with my child. Now, for you, I have a question because you have a mini me. And when I tell you that she took your face while you were carrying her and she just smeared it all over her, that little girl is you. Does she act like you in real life?
I'm going to say no because I don't like how she be acting all the time. So I'm not going to take that on. I'm not going to take credit for that. But yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And when you see it back real early, because she's only 2. So you already getting it back. Like, I wanted boys too. I thought that I was a boy mom. And my kids are 10 years apart.
You started off as one.
I did start off as one and thought that that's how it was going to be. But then here comes the toddler when I have a 10-year-old and it's a little girl. And it has definitely changed so much of my perception. Like, I notice I'm a lot softer. Like, I don't know how to explain it. And it really does have to do with how we socialize these children. But my parenting is even different with this 2-year-old.
Wow. That's awesome, though. I cannot compare it, but I don't think I'm softer. I feel like I'm fussing nonstop. Like I wake up fussing. Like, what did you do? Before I even open my eyes, it's exhausting. Such strong personality. Know what they want. They don't take no. They will not take. Mine will not take no. If you tell her no, she's gonna figure it out on her own. Mm-hmm. Oh, and that's me. That's me. So I blame me.
I'm not to that level of accountability yet. Maybe when I'm 40.
Okay. Well, you got some time, boo. I'll check back in when you're 40, okay? But enough about Tavia, enough about mini me. Well, not enough about mini you, because I'm excited to hear what you have to say. I want to give you the floor. Take the mic, boo, and share, school us, tell us who you are. The floor is yours for your herstory segment.
Oh, yay. All right. Hello again, everyone. My name is Ciarra Covin, and I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right outside of it. And I have been living with HIV now for 15, almost 16 years. And I got diagnosed, really early on in life. I was 20. So that came before, it was time to make all of those decisions for me about like my reproductive health, whether or not I was going to have children. Although that was my first question was, can I have kids? I knew I wasn't trying to have them right then, but I've been navigating this diagnosis for over a decade and a half and have 2 beautiful, amazing children. As we just heard, I have a now 13-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they are both HIV negative. And, you never know what God gonna put in your place, like what mission you gonna be put on and how this gonna help his people. And I am a firm believer, and it's been validated in so many different ways over the time that this is part of my mission. So I am currently program manager at an organization called The Well Project, which is a nonprofit that serves women and girls who are living with HIV and those vulnerable to it across the gender spectrum. And I have had the opportunity to just become engaged in the HIV and maternal space in such a way that is led by my own personal experience. And it's been wonderful. Had a chance to help moms all over the country, all over the world, just fight for what it is that they envision for themselves. So I run a social media that you brought up earlier, specifically my Instagram. And this Instagram, I began putting time into it back in 2019. I heard a word from God. You be hearing words from God sometimes. But this word was, get on the internet for a year. Why would I get on the internet for a year? And why would I get on the internet and tell my business? But that was what I heard. So every day for a year, 2019, every day I got up and I posted to Instagram and I began building this community. It was a community that wasn't HIV based. It was just people who could relate to, HIV is just one thing that we're going through. There's still so many other parts to life, and I was able to build a community off of that. I had started my blog, Healing is Voluntary, which is the acronym HIV, but I was tired of it meaning HIV. Like, that was too ugly. So Healing is Voluntary, and realizing that, I probably won't get rid of this HIV. Like they say, it's forever. So, but there are other things, there was things that led me to that diagnosis that I could heal from. I can heal my mind. I can heal my perception, and how am I going to move forward despite this diagnosis? So in that, I just started writing all these different types of blogs about different stories, different experiences I had. HIV stigma, poverty, because growing up poor is traumatic, or, abuse, all these different topics, and then translating that over to my Instagram. And so a platform that started off with maybe 400 followers, back in 2019, we've reached like 13.5K today. And I'm so excited. And I think I've received the biggest jumps in my follower counts is when videos go viral. And I don't like all of that. Like, it makes me feel I'm just trying to reach the people, and I've been doing so good so long, being able to reach people who understood, or when they didn't understand, they were able to express it in a way that was respectful. But we know that that's not 99% of the internet. So when a video goes viral, now it's landing on all different types of folks' pages, folks that are respectful, folks that don't know, folks that don't know and don't want to know, so that can be hard. One of my first videos that went viral was that little thing. It was the what's they called? The trend where it is like hit you with the blick. So, you go into the screen and then you come back out of the screen with a flex. I don't know, something like that. And so I did it with me and my 2 kids. I said, they said that women living with HIV can't have kids, and then me and the kids come into the camera and then out. I had put on a video that both of my children were HIV negative, and it still was missed by many of the people that were viewing the video. So now I'm getting called selfish, how this is not a flex, how, just many disgusting things. And I couldn't understand, because this has been my life for so long. Like, I've worked with providers. I have met other women in the community that, like, this is our life. Like, we have children. We make sure that we follow the providers' recommendations. We take our medication. We go to our appointments to make sure that that risk is as low as possible of transmission. And what we know is with medication, when that parent that is pregnant, if they are undetectable, I'll go into undetectable in a minute, but if they are undetectable, then the risk of transmission is less than 1%. That's for birth and it's for breastfeeding. Those are the facts that we know. And I've been undetectable for most of the time that I've been diagnosed and on treatment. So undetectable, just how HIV work in our body. So everybody has these things called T cells. The T cells are what keeps your body, like your fighter cells. They help fight off, infections or anything that's going to come in. So anybody without, just period, you can have between 500 and I think they said like 1,500. Don't quote me on that number. T cells just off the rip. HIV comes in and it starts fighting away those cells. And that is where medication comes in, because it stops HIV from taking away all of your fighter cells. It helps suppress it. So once it's suppressed enough to the level where they call undetectable, that means that your immune system's, doing, it has enough T cells, it's doing what it's supposed to do, and that HIV is being suppressed. When a person is undetectable, they cannot transmit HIV sexually. Like, we have that science. We can say for certain that it cannot transmit from a person who is undetectable to anyone sexually. Cool. So that's how I made the babies. I get that question a lot. That's how I made the babies. I had unprotected sex and conceived my children both times with two people that I was in love with at different points in my life. That's how it happened. Like, that's how it happens for many of us. And then it comes in, now in the baby. Pregnancy doesn't look too different for, a woman like me and a woman who is not living with HIV. I was considered high risk, so that means that I was being seen more often, which made me feel good, because that's a scary thing, carrying a baby inside of your body. Like, how I'm supposed to know that the baby okay? Like, I need an ultrasound machine at home, because I need to know. So high risk, then I have support, and especially with the baby that I just had in 2021, Zuri. I had a high-risk OBGYN, I had a high-risk case manager, I had a high-risk nurse, and I still was being seen by my infectious disease doctor, and I got to talk to the pediatrician, so I had a team of providers around, and I took my medication as prescribed, nothing too much changes there. The baby, regardless, and it depends on where you live, but it's common practice that the baby will also be on medication afterwards. I've seen the tide changing that as well. Zion had to take it for 7 weeks after I gave birth to him in 2010. And Zuri took it for as long as I breastfed, because I did breastfeed this baby, which was a huge thing at the time in 2021, because the United States guidelines said do not breastfeed. And that was hurtful. Not being able to breastfeed my first baby, and knowing that that's something that we just did culturally. Like, my mom did it and talked about how beautiful it was, and HIV had taken it away from me. That sent me into extreme postpartum depression. And later on, after, between the time that I had Zion and Zuri, the World Health Organization actually came out and said that breast is best for any parent. Like, whether or not you living with HIV or not, exclusively breastfeeding for 6 months is the best thing for that baby, because we know the benefits. That's why moms not living with HIV will opt into breastfeeding, because it's the best thing your baby can have. It gives your baby the nutrients, like, the milk is there, and you have the choice whether or not you're going to breastfeed or not. Some parents do opt into formula. Cool. So seeing the research and everything from other places, talking to other moms that had breastfed, all living with HIV, and seeing that their children were negative, like, I want to do it. But the difference between me was that I had already had a platform, and my platform on Instagram and, multiple different platforms had already been developed. And in a sense of transparency, like, I talk because this just is what it is. It's my life. And so we found out about the pregnancy early with each other. We went to the doctor's appointments. We breastfed. And then that's when I started receiving a lot of that hate, was like, you're so selfish. And I say all the time, that felt like one of the most selfless things I had ever done, was breastfeed, carry a child while living with HIV. Like, I know the science and I know I got faith, but then what if I am that less than 1% chance? But I wasn't. And, I'm so grateful that everything has turned out how God had promised me that it would. My faith got a little weak sometimes, but, we stuck through, and the moms. So the big thing that came out of that was then in 2023, in January, the United States, updated from the Department of Health and Human Services. They updated our guidelines, and they no longer begin with do not breastfeed if you're living with HIV. Like, now they give providers like some tips, some guidance on how to engage parents in this conversation and how to have informed decision making happen. So that's what you telling me what my options are, what could happen, and then allowing me to make that decision for my life instead of you just telling me what I'm going to do because I'm living with HIV. I didn't ask for this virus. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't, and it didn't take away my ability to be able to make decisions for myself. Like, no. So I'm really grateful that my voice alongside other advocates, including the World Project, another girl that helped me so much, a girl named Heather O'Connor, like, our voices really got shown in those and reflected in those guidelines updates. So happy. And I'm happy that I get to share this with the world. So, you know, in my everyday work, I'm all the way over here where we're talking breast and chest feeding for parents living with HIV. But then over here, I'm on social media where it feels like I'm starting at the beginning every single day. Sometimes, because I don't think they think that, first of all, that it's women living with HIV. Then they don't think that the women living with HIV are having sex. Then they don't know that the women living with HIV are getting pregnant. And then they're upset that the women living with HIV, when they find all of that out, are actually having babies. And it just comes as a surprise to me because we live in a country that challenges the rights of women when it comes to our reproductive health. And I know we was all like, you know, it seemed like a sense of camaraderie when that right was being stripped away from us. It's like my body, my choice. But when you insert HIV into that conversation, it seems like all of those rules get thrown out the window. And somehow it's no longer my body and my choice. And I'm here to fight for that because all day, no, you're not going to do us like that. And that's my story. Thank you.
That is a beautiful story. You said a lot, and I say this every episode. You said a lot. Thank you for always being transparent. When I first met you, it was at Lynette's brunch. I Am You, I believe. I believe that's what it was called.
And you had on a tutu, and you were pregnant.
Why do you? Yes, I did. I had on, and I was getting big and pregnant too.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed your personality so much, and I think that was the first time. Well, yeah, it had to have been the first time that I heard about your definition for HIV. Healing is voluntary, and I love that. I love that so much because it changes the perspective of what HIV means. Like, you don't have to die in HIV, having HIV. You can live, and it's your choice. You don't have to receive what the naysayers are telling you about your life. You have a choice to live. And I love that you live that. You are an advocate for people to get up and walk. Like, you don't have to die in your diagnosis. And I love that. I'm very excited about your podcast, which I don't remember if we mentioned it, but FYI listeners, CiCiiiii has a new podcast, and I need all of the Black women who have any health issues to check it out. It is called DX, which means Diagnosis Black Woman. And I will definitely be listening because CiCiiiii is just an amazing moderator. Like, I love listening to your perspective. I love listening to you breaking it down and being able to empower other people. One of the things that I did want to touch on that you said, you were happy when you were identified as a high-risk pregnancy because you had to go to the doctors and you had to be seen, and they were basically keeping you safe and secure. I was a high-risk pregnancy as well, because at first I started off with twins, and thank God he had his way. I started off with twins. I had a blood clot previously, right before I got pregnant, and it was in my lungs. So I was on blood thinners, and I had to remain on blood thinners during my pregnancy. And I'm still on blood thinners to this day. And then I also ended up being gestational, being diagnosed with gestational diabetes. So I was high risk as well. And it just felt like I was going to the doctors like every day. It really wasn't every day, but sometimes it was 2 or 3 times a week. And it just felt like too much. And I complained the whole time. But I thank you for your perspective, because that's how they kept me and my baby safe, by having to go to these doctors and having to put out these copays.
Oh yeah,
So,
and the parking fees every time you got to go down there and park, because I was going in the city. They say one of the most dangerous things to do in this country is to give birth as a Black woman. And so
absolutely.
If I'm in a space where y'all guys see me, yes, it's an inconvenience, but so is this whole darn pregnancy, in the way, because I had stuff I wanted to do that I no longer could. I don't have any experiences of not being HIV positive and carrying children. So this is all that I know. Yeah, we gonna make the best out of anything. So yeah, see this baby, make sure her head not small like y'all said it was about to be small. They was stressing me out. And then to know all the things that could go wrong, to know that each parent they conceive and they just envision these perfect little babies with 10 fingers and 10 toes. And that's not always what happens. I need to see her. Let me see her. I need to put my eyes on her, make sure she's all right.
Right. And I know a lot of parents are like, I just want a healthy, happy, bouncing baby. But that's not necessarily the first thought in the back of our heads. I feel like that's the last thought after we realize at the end of the day, I'm still having this baby. So I'm going to be grateful for whatever God gives me. But that's not the first thought. So yes, we do. We wonder, is there going to be something wrong with my baby? Am I going to have to be living in the hospital for most of her life? These are questions that we do ask. These are added stressors to already being stressed carrying a child. And I say baking a child because y'all in my oven, it's just a rising. So I have a lot of questions for you. Was it hard for you to find supportive providers? And you can compare both pregnancies. Did you ever feel like, oh no, you're not going to work out with me, I have to find someone else?
Absolutely. So my story is I was diagnosed in Georgia. That's where I gave birth to Zion. And the lives between, the southern United States and the northern United States, our experiences overall can be really different. The systems in place are different. And I had a provider one time down there tell me, when I asked if I could have children, he said, yes, as long as you realize that those children are going to be orphans. And I always think, why did that white man feel so comfortable to say to me in that room? But I also was able to land with another provider who had been working with people living with HIV since the 80s. And he knew that it was possible for women to give birth to babies that were negative, even though they were living with HIV. So I cling on to the hopeful ones. If you talking that stuff that I ain't really trying to hear, I know that you're not going to work out. Between the two births, I had a lot of time to think about all the things that I had wished I would have advocated for my first child, my son. And so this time, no, I'm not going for it. And if the white girl over there could do it, and if the girl that lives in Kenya can do it, how come I can't do it? Is it just because of my location in the world? That's crazy. So no, I'm fighting for it, and I don't care. So my provider, who I have been with for a decade almost, I came to her about I'm pregnant. I was on a medication that you shouldn't have been on if you was pregnant. I couldn't understand that in the first place. I'm still in my childbearing ages. How did I end up on something that could hurt a baby if I got pregnant? That's wild. But whatever, switch the medicine.
Wow.
And then I bring up the conversation of breastfeeding. Now I'm doing all this work and I'm talking to these parents that had breastfed, and now come to her, and her first rebuttal was, they have milk banks. You can get milk out of the milk bank, and that's nice for people that want access to that. I ain't want to give my baby nobody else milk. Like, I just didn't want it. So her next rebuttal was that there would be no doctor in America that would work with me if that was what my desire was. I knew that to be untrue because the girl down in Virginia was getting support from her provider. So I knew that wasn't true. And then the third one was, well, if you breastfeed, then you'll have to be quiet about it because our pediatrician is known to call DHS, CPS, Child Protective Services on parents that breastfeed while living with HIV. Said, wow, I'm 6 weeks pregnant at this point. We don't even know if this baby is going to stick. And y'all already talking, like Child Protective Services already made it into the conversation. You're right. Won't be staying here because I don't feel safe. Not only do I got to protect this baby from HIV, but I got to protect my baby from y'all because that's insane. So I fired that provider in that sense. And I really hate that it messed our relationship up in the way that it did. But the baby was like, we was going to do what we was going to do. So I did. I found providers within the same city of Philadelphia who were willing to work with me and my baby. And it felt good to have that backing of people that really was listening to my needs, my concerns, my wants, my desires. Like, okay, how can we make this happen? That's what we all deserve, and you shouldn't have to fight for it.
Right. Absolutely. It's just the simple principle of putting your patient first and making sure that you can give your patient everything that they need, not what you want to push on them. That's disgusting that people won't even take the time to make sure that you are able to live as normal of a life as you absolutely can. You're doing that on your own, and you're advocating that other people fight for themselves. Why can't doctors who are getting paid the big bucks do the same thing? That's disturbing. But it's not far-fetched from my experience either. Like, I've had a couple issues, not per se when I was pregnant, but as a Black woman, I would have never even been faced with a PE had I had my doctor listen to me when I told them I think I have a blood clot in my leg. They brushed it off, told me it was just a calf sprain, ice it. 3 weeks later, I'm in the hospital, unable to breathe. Had to stay for 4 days because somebody didn't listen to me. We have to do better. Like, we really have to do better. Are we trying to save our citizens, or are we trying to push some of them out while we help others out? Like, what are we doing? So I want to jump back to, were you about to say something?
Oh, I was just over here giggling to myself because they don't listen, and sometimes you gotta yell, sometimes you gotta scream, and I'm a yeller and I'm a screamer and I'm gonna write an emailer too because they gonna listen. I don't care what you thought it was. We not
know it.
And anything that I advocate for myself here is gonna benefit my next brother and sister that walks into this office, and that's. I fight for poor people. I have to say that. I fight for poor people because I have lived that life most of my life, and I know what it feels like, and we are often forgotten about. So be poor and Black at the same time? Good God. But no. Your voice still matters too. And I'm just going to keep empowering and keep, inspiring people to use theirs.
Awesome. I love it. I appreciate it. And you're doing an awesome work, because 400 followers to 13,500 followers, which leads me to the question that I was going to ask. When your videos do go viral and you get the cyberbully messages from people who just feel entitled, like they have to say something, there's a choice. You have a choice and you can be quiet. If it's not impacting your life, why do you have a need to say anything? But you feel like I need to say something because this woman is blah, 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 and da, 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 da. When you get those messages, how do you cope and how do you manage with them?
Man, in 2024, I'm trying something new. I'm trying to not respond to them because I am very good at matching energy. Very, very good. Because now I have to make a point. I scroll by a lot of stuff on the internet every day that I don't like. And I don't say anything. I might save it. I might laugh at it later to myself. But I'm not going to intentionally, tear somebody down, write everything that comes to my mind. Like, because it's mean. And what kind of people did my parents raise? Like, I'm not mean like that. It's something about my character, my morals. And a lot of people lack that. So now if you come to my page and you write something crazy, more than likely I'm coming to your page to see, because I gotta see what my what the source was. My mom always told me to check my source, And when I see that it's a black woman, makes me so sad and so disappointed, because sis, like, we've been like in this we the most, like, we are so disproportionately impacted by this virus and nobody's asking for it. So I know that we've been in positions before where we might have been lied to, betrayed, maybe sometimes even cheated on. And I know many a women that's gotten it like that. So, like, sis, chill on me, because this could be you or your daughter. I hate that too. Like, just because you've made it through your entire life without contracting HIV, because we won't even touch the other STIs, just because you still have family members who are out there that might not have the information. So while you judging me, does all of your family, are you making sure that they are making the safest, sexual choices for themselves? I want to replace safest with the healthiest sexual choices for themselves. Language is really, really big for me. And then when I see that it's a black man, I'm like, yo, I got it from a black man. So how are y'all over here judging me? Then I'll see that it's a medical provider. Like, yo, this is who we're trusting our care in, is somebody that thinks like this. Wow. Disappointed. Or then it'll be somebody with some bad edges, and now I gotta say something. So, okay, I'm selfish, and yeah, why your edges look like that? See, it was something I could have kept to myself, right? Because it's me. Oh, all right.
I mean, they could have kept their comments to themselves too. I'm not justifying it, but because you had all the control over your edges. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's not nice.
But it make you want to do that because people start attacking your character. Like, they go straight to the character.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, out of a 10-second video, that's what you got about me? So now they call me all types of stuff. I be calling them all types of stuff too. But, I'm on a mission, and I think about, other people who have come before me. If they would have given up just when people was talking crazy about them, we might not have, made it so far. So, nah, forget them. I got an opinion, and you got an opinion, and at some time they have to cancel each other out. Like, it doesn't even matter.
Right. Absolutely. I'm going to try to wrap it up. It's hard because there's so much, but like, you're so much more than your HIV status as well. Like, you're a mom. You're a mom of 2 kids and 2 very different age kids. So before we move on to tea time, just kind of summarize, how are you feeling with that? You got a 13-year-old and a 2-year-old little girl.
I feel overwhelmed. I feel like the teenager is doing teenager things, and I want to hurt them. And then the 2-year-old is doing 2-year-old things that she's supposed to be doing. And that gets on my nerves too. And it's like this 2 different, like, you have to parent them in different ways. You have to talk to them in different ways. I'm exhausted. Not only am I I'm a parent, I'm a student, I'm an employee, I am the oldest sibling. Like, I'm so many different things. And you're right, HIV is just a small piece of it. Because offline, in real life, like, I'm holding everything else down and I'm exhausted. I am a tired millennial mom. I love them now. I love them.
I mean, you can't help but to love them. You can't help it. I get it. And I only have one, but she has the energy of her twin too. I always joke around and I say she ate her twin. That's how we lost it. And her twin's energy just thrives. Like, you got both of them. It's just one of you, but it's two of you. I'm just, okay. Sorry, that's not about me. We could talk for days, but because of time, we're going to have to wind down. So I would like to go ahead and move on a little bit. And can I also add, with all of the things that you just mentioned, you're also, am I allowed to say, you're also writing a book?
Oh, like, yes, my book. My book. I'm so excited. I'm not saying the name yet, but it should be out. I'm going to say by the summer. We're very close to concluding the book, but it will be talking motherhood and HIV and all of my experiences that has gotten me to this point. And from all of this, also, we have Momtonomy Inc., which is my nonprofit organization that focuses on mothers who are living with HIV and their families as they fight for the lives that they envision for themselves. Our tagline is "Our choices, your support." I'm planning a community wellness event here in Philly over this summer, and I'm just so excited for it all. Okay, I think this.
That's awesome. So I'm actually just going to jump the script a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and say, make sure that you are looking out for the book that's going to be coming out possibly by the summer. I'm going to keep an eye on it, and I will make sure that it is included in my website whenever we have it. Also, check out the podcast, Diagnosis Black Woman. So that is DX Black Woman. Then we have Momtonomy. We have Healing is Voluntary, which is an LLC and CiCiiiiii storytelling brand. And don't forget to check out what CiCiiiiii is doing with the Well Project as well. All of these links will be available in the comment section so that you can make sure that you are following CiCiiiii. And if you're going to follow CiCiiiii with a nasty attitude, don't even bother. Make sure we're bringing the positivity and the support to CiCiiiii's pages. All right? Because Nailed It Motherhood Podcast don't support that negativity. All right? We're going to move on to tea time. So tea time is a game of rapid fire. I have come up with a bunch of questions. Some of them are deep and some of them are just for fun. Ciarra has been given access to these questions at the very last minute, so she may be in for a complete surprise today, but that's okay because she wasn't going to know what questions she was getting anyway. She will have 3 minutes to answer as many questions as she can and give us just a little insight into who she is. So I'm setting the timer now. Listeners, are you ready? Yeah. CiCiiiii, are you ready?
Yes.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not going to ask this question. They're not crazy, I promise. Some of them. We'll see. 3 minutes on the clock, and we are ready to begin. The first question: how do you want to be remembered?
Oh, it's somebody that used her voice and did not shut up.
Yes, I like that. All right. At what age did you decide you wanted to become a mom, if at all?
When did it? I don't know. When did I decide? I would say when I was 20. I knew that was something that I didn't want taken away from me, but I always envisioned having my first kid around 27. I was 23. It came too soon. Now I would tell somebody to wait till they were 40 because I ain't got time for this. Sorry.
Yes and no, boo. Yes and no. Because I waited till I was 32. I'm tired. Do you believe in love at first sight?
No. We're not in a movie.
If you could talk to... If you could talk to anyone from your past, who would it be?
Oh, my grandma.
Did you meet your own requirement for how many children you would have?
No, I exceeded it by one.
Don't let it be me. What's your biggest regret as a mom?
That it's not two of me and that I can't spend as much time as I want to because I'm trying to grind. And I wish that it was two of me.
It will pay off. What's the most unexpected compliment you've received?
Oh, people call me brave. Or no, not brave is okay. I'm okay with brave. It's when people call me strong. Because I don't feel strong. This just is my life. It's like, oh, you think I'm strong? I'm just living. So that is always unexpected.
I love that. When are you the most secure?
Oh, I was hoping you asked this one. Is when my nails is done. Okay? It's when my...
Yes. And they look good, boo. I wish y'all could see it. I might have to take a picture and post it. Name last question. Well, maybe. Name one of your favorite moments with your kids. Just one.
When I took them to Puerto Rico at the end of the year, and it was the first time that it was like just us three, and it was beautiful to just watch their dynamic and how the big one shows up as a big brother. Like, it was beautiful.
Awesome. It sounds like you guys have fun together, and that's what it's about, right? I mean, if I'm gonna have a kid, let's do something fun.
I'm just trying to build, like, I want to create great memories with the kids. Like, when they reflect on their childhood, I want it to be bright. I don't want it to be dark.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like that is the right mindset. Not that people wake up and say, I want my kid's life to be dark, but some people just are unhappy and it just creates a darkness for their kids. So I like that. I want to thank you for showing up today because I feel like anytime you get an opportunity to open your mouth and use your voice, it is going to make an impact. And I'm talking about you in particular because you just have that personality that says, I'm going to talk and you're going to listen. What you do with it after you hear what I have to say, that's up to you. But I said what I had to say. And I love that. I love that you have created a platform to educate people. It is not just so you can shine and you can be out in front of people, because although you are very charismatic and you love to live and you love to have fun, I don't think that's what you're about. And I appreciate that you took the time to say, yes, I want to talk to your listeners too. I hope that my listeners can translate to your podcast and become your listeners. That would be DX Black Woman. And you can find her on YouTube. But I thank you. I thank you for always being transparent. And I thank you for living your life. Like, you are not defeated and you are going to shout it out to the mountaintop and you are going to live the very best life, just like it's golden, like Jill said. So thank you for that. Now, I want to give you an opportunity to share with our listeners any words of wisdom that you might have or anything that you just want to say. I want to sum up life for you and give you some advice. So I want to turn the attention back to you and the floor is yours.
So what I would say is that sometimes we get a little, like we deserve this stuff. So I felt like I can't give God conditions on how I was going to live life. Like if he let me wake up today, I can't say, okay, God, the only way I'm going to live is if I'm HIV negative and I got the single house with the picket fence and the 2 kids that act right all the time. I can't give him them conditions. So if this is how I woke up today, I'm going to start with the fact that I woke up and what we going to do to make this joint lit. Today going to be lit. Tomorrow going to be lit. It might not be lit in the way that I imagine, but the fact that I got a chance to, what the old folks say, I got a chance to be in the number again. And I think when we change our perception and see that this is a blessing, this is a gift, it helps make some of the other stuff a little easier to deal with.
I said, listeners, there you have it. I have a couple more questions before I let CiCiiiii take on her afternoon with her babies. CiCiiiii, is parenting challenging?
It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. The hardest thing. Like, I'm used to being... You turn in a paper in school, you get a grade back in a little bit so you know how you doing. This, you don't get graded like that. So, like, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? I don't know.
I like it. But are they still standing?
And they still alive. Ain't that the big thing? They've been eating, they got clothes, and they got shelter. I feel like I'm winning.
Yes. Hashtag winning. So what do you want to proudly shout to our listeners?
This mama is... Wait, it's a truck. I'm going to do that again. Okay.
I heard it.
This mama is nailing it. This mama is nailing it.
I love it. Try different ways, different variations, but you're still nailing it. So if you like this episode, because I know I did, I had a ball, and you want to hear more personal parenting stories, subscribe to my social media, Nailed It Motherhood Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. I'm not so big on TikTok, but I have one. Follow us on your favorite podcast platform as well. You can also be a guest on the podcast by completing a guest application. The link is in the bio. We welcome your questions, comments, and ideas, and we certainly hope to keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep on doing what it is you do and nailing it. Bye.